Smokey Robinson, the legendary voice of Motown, recently turned 85. Even now, he defies age, looking decades younger than his years. In candid interviews, he often reflects on a life filled with music, love, and the complicated choices fame demands. He once said, "I learned that we are capable of loving more than one person at the same time," a statement that captured the depth of his emotional honesty. It was not merely a confession about a romantic entanglement, but also a reflection on the human experience of love and contradiction. Born in 1940 in Detroit's North End, William Smokey Robinson Jr. emerged from humble beginnings. His father was African American, and his mother had mixed French descent, giving Smokey a rich heritage that included traces of Nigerian, Scandinavian, Portuguese, and Cherokee roots. By age 3, his parents had separated, and by 10, he lost his mother. Raised in a crowded household of 12, including his sister Geraldine and her husband, Smokey found solace in music from a young age. It was his uncle Claude who gave him the nickname Smokey Joe, inspired by cowboy movies they enjoyed together. That name would follow him throughout his career, becoming synonymous with Motown and American soul music. During his high school years at Northern High, Smokey excelled in both sports and the arts, but music was his greatest passion. In 1955, he formed a doo-wop group called the Five Chimes with friends Ronald White and Pete Moore. The group later evolved into the Matadors with additional members, including Bobby Rogers and Claudette Rogers, who would eventually become Smokey's wife. By 1958, the band had become the Miracles, the first signature act of Motown Records. Their early encounter with Berry Gordy during a failed Brunswick Records audition changed everything. Smokey carried a notebook of over 100 songs he had written, which impressed Gordy and marked the beginning of a collaboration that would last decades. The Miracles' first breakthrough came with Shop Around in 1960, which became Motown's first major hit. This marked the beginning of a cultural revolution, as Motown evolved into a symbol of Black American artistry. Smokey, though a young man from Detroit, became a central figure in this transformation. Within the modest confines of Hitsville, USA, he not only performed but also crafted the emotional and spiritual framework of Motown. He refined lyrics, perfected arrangements, and ensured each song conveyed a story with soul and simplicity. His creative genius extended far beyond the Miracles, penning hits like My Girl for the Temptations, Two Lovers for Mary Wells, and Ain't That Peculiar for Marvin Gaye. By the late 1960s, he had risen to the position of Motown's vice president, responsible for scouting, mentoring, and maintaining the quality that defined the label. The mid-1960s presented Smokey with a personal dilemma, balancing family and career. He had 2 young children, and Motown's demanding touring schedule kept him away from home for more than 200 days each year. When offered a leadership role at the label, he considered retiring from performing to be with his family. However, the success of The Tears of a Clown forced him to continue touring. By 1971, Smokey officially withdrew from the Miracles, closing a 13-year chapter of groundbreaking music. His solo career began with the 1973 album Smokey, including Sweet Harmony, a tribute to his former bandmates. Later, A Quiet Storm would redefine R&B, giving its name to a new radio format and solidifying Smokey's status as a pioneer of romantic soul music. Smokey's personal life mirrored the complexities of his career. His marriage to Claudette Rogers gradually fractured under the pressures of touring and fame, leading to a separation in 1974 and a divorce in 1986. He had a son, Trey, in 1984, born from an extramarital relationship. Amid these upheavals, Smokey reconnected with childhood friend Diana Ross, leading to a private relationship that lasted about a year. Reflecting on this period, he acknowledged his ability to love more than one person simultaneously, a testament to his emotional honesty and human complexity. Despite personal trials, Smokey's music remained a refuge. Albums like Warm Thoughts and Being With You showcased his signature slow, soulful melodies. He gained recognition not only for his performance, but also for his songwriting mastery, receiving a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1983, induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987, and the National Medal of Arts in 1993. Grammy Awards and Songwriters Hall of Fame honors followed, cementing his legacy as one of the most influential figures in American music. Beyond accolades, Smokey has devoted much of his life to mentoring young artists, supporting music education, and participating in charitable causes. Colleagues like Bob Dylan have praised him as America's greatest living poet, reflecting the power of his lyrics and the breadth of his influence. Even past 80, Smokey continues to write, perform, and release albums, most recently What the World Needs Now in 2025, and embarked on a legacy tour, celebrating the enduring resonance of his music. Yet, even at this stage, Smokey's life is not without challenges. In 2025, he faced legal accusations from former employees, alleging sexual assault and a toxic work environment. He has denied all claims and filed counter lawsuits for defamation and elder abuse, with investigations ongoing. These developments underscore the complexity of the life lived in the public eye, a mixture of triumph, creativity, controversy, and resilience. Through it all, Smokey Robinson remains a figure of enduring artistry, emotional honesty, and cultural significance. From a boy in Detroit enchanted by cowboy movies to a global icon of soul and R&B, his journey reflects the evolution of American music and the enduring power of human expression. Even as controversies emerge and decades pass, his voice continues to inspire, proving that true artistry transcends time and circumstance. William Smokey Robinson, Jr. was born in 1940 in Detroit's North End, a neighborhood known for its tight-knit community but modest means. His father was African American, while his mother had mixed French ancestry. Later, it would be revealed that traces of Nigerian, Scandinavian, Portuguese, and Cherokee blood ran in his veins, a heritage that mirrored the diversity and richness of his music. Smokey's childhood was marked by early challenges. When he was only 3 years old, his parents separated, leaving him in the care of extended family. By the age of 10, he faced the death of his mother, a tragedy that shaped the emotional depth he would later pour into his songwriting. Raised in a crowded household of 12, including his sister Geraldine and her husband, Smokey's early life was full of hustle, laughter, and music. It was in this household that his love for singing and rhythm first took root. An important figure in his childhood was his uncle Claude, who introduced him to cowboy movies and gave him the nickname Smokey Joe. That simple act of naming would follow him throughout life, eventually shortening to the iconic Smokey Robinson, a name synonymous with Motown, soul music, and emotional storytelling. Beyond the name, his uncle instilled in him a sense of courage and imagination, qualities that would later define his stage presence and his approach to life's challenges. Smokey attended Northern High School, where he excelled in sports, academics, and the arts. While many teenagers of his era focused on survival or simple recreation, Smokey was already writing songs and performing. Music became his anchor, providing a sense of purpose and escape from the hardships of his environment. Friends from his neighborhood recall him as quiet but thoughtful, someone whose words carried insight far beyond his years. By the mid-1950s, his natural talent had become impossible to ignore, setting him on a path that would transform American music forever. In 1955, Smokey formed a doo-wop group called the Five Chimes with childhood friends Ronald White and Pete Moore. This humble beginning was the first step in a long journey of musical innovation. Over time, the group's name changed to the Matadors, and eventually, with new members Bobby Rogers and Claudette Rogers, who would later become Smokey's wife, they became the Miracles. Their sound was a fusion of youthful energy, raw emotion, and musical experimentation, a combination that would later define Motown. The group's pivotal moment came in 1957, during a failed audition at Brunswick Records. Carrying a notebook with over 100 original songs he had written, Smokey caught the attention of Berry Gordy, who recognized a rare talent in the young singer. Gordy would go on to establish Motown Records, a label that would become a cultural powerhouse in the 1960s, and Smokey Robinson would be its creative heart. His ability to write, sing, and structure music set him apart, and his notebook became the seed of what would grow into an empire of hits and legends. The Miracles' first major breakthrough came with the 1960 song Shop Around, a record that climbed quickly to number 1 on the R&B chart. The song's simple melody, heartfelt lyrics, and relatable themes captured the public's imagination, establishing both the Miracles and Motown as forces in American music. For Smokey, it was a confirmation that his talent could resonate far beyond Detroit streets. Yet even as fame blossomed, Smokey remained deeply connected to his roots, often reflecting on the challenges he faced growing up and how those struggles had shaped his creativity as Motown grew. Smokey Robinson evolved from performer into a visionary songwriter and producer. His influence reached far beyond the Miracles. He wrote iconic hits for other Motown artists, including My Girl for the Temptations, Two Lovers from Mary Wells, Ain't That Peculiar for Marvin Gaye, and Floyd Joy for the Supremes. Each song bore his signature style, lyrics that were light, easy to sing, yet emotionally profound. His work transformed Motown into more than a record label. It became a cultural institution, a source of pride for Black America, and a bridge connecting communities across racial lines. Smokey's role in Motown's success extended to mentoring, scouting, and nurturing new talent. When Motown's creative trio Holland Dozier Holland left the label over contract disputes, Berry Gordy relied on Smokey to maintain the quality and authenticity of the music. His meticulous approach involved perfecting harmonies, rhythms, and arrangements in the cramped recording studios of Hitsville, USA. He even tapped rhythms on wooden chairs, a testament to his relentless dedication to musical precision. Through his work, he created a blueprint for what would become known as the Motown sound, a combination of heartfelt emotion, polished production, and universal appeal. Despite his professional triumphs, Smokey's personal life was fraught with challenges. He married Claudette Rogers in 1959, and their early years together were intertwined with tours, recording sessions, and the growing responsibilities of fame. By the late 1960s, the demands of Motown and the Miracles' touring schedule kept him away from home for more than 200 days a year. Balancing family and career became increasingly difficult. He became a father of 2 young children, and while offered the vice presidential post at Motown, he considered retiring from performing to focus on his family. Yet the unexpected success of the Tears of a Clown extended his responsibilities, forcing him to continue performing and delaying his personal plans beyond 1971. Smokey withdrew from Miracles, marking the end of a 13-year partnership that had shaped both Motown and American popular music. His departure was quiet, a simple announcement backstage. It's time. This period of transition also marked the beginning of his solo career. Albums like Smokey 1973 and A Quiet Storm 1975 showcased his evolution as an artist, focusing on slow, soulful melodies that conveyed intimacy, pain, and emotional reflection. The Quiet Storm concept even became a new radio format, cementing Smokey's influence on R&B for decades to come. After leaving the Miracles in 1971, Smokey Robinson faced a new challenge, redefining himself as a solo artist. The transition was not simple. For over a decade, he had been the voice, heart, and soul of a legendary group. Now, he had to find his own sound, separate from the collaborative energy of the Miracles. In 1973, he released his first solo album, Smokey. Among the tracks was Sweet Harmony, a gentle tribute to his former bandmates. While the album did not achieve massive commercial success, it marked a crucial step. Smokey was stepping into a new chapter, ready to explore deeper emotional landscapes through his music. 2 years later, Smokey released A Quiet Storm 1975, a groundbreaking album that would redefine romantic R&B. The title track lent its name to a new style of radio programming, The Quiet Storm, characterized by smooth, slow-tempo tracks that emphasize emotional intimacy over high-energy production. Unlike the upbeat Motown hits of the 1960s, A Quiet Storm focused on subtlety, reflection, and storytelling. Smokey's songs on this album, like Baby That's Back at You and The Agony and the Ecstasy, capture the nuances of love, longing, and personal struggle. He had moved from crafting universal pop hits to creating music that spoke to the inner lives of listeners, showing a maturity and introspection that resonated deeply. This period also mirrored significant changes in Smokey's personal life. His marriage to Claudette, once a model of stability in the music world, began to crumble under the pressures of fame, distance, and touring. By 1974, they had separated, and though they maintained mutual respect, they would not finalize their divorce until 1986. In 1984, Smokey had a son, Trey, from an extramarital relationship. These personal experiences, the joys, guilt, and heartbreak, became the raw material for his music. Each song carried the weight of lived experience, turning personal struggles into universal truths. Smokey's solo success grew steadily. Albums like Warm Thoughts and Being With You continued the quiet storm style, blending smooth melodies with lyrical sincerity. Being With You reached #2 on the Billboard charts, demonstrating that audiences still connected with Smokey's reflective, tender style. His music was no longer just entertainment. It was a space where listeners could experience vulnerability, honesty, and emotional depth. Smokey himself described this phase as a time when music became his refuge, a place to process life's complexities through melody and rhythm. The late 1970s and early 1980s saw Smokey solidify his place as both a performer and a mentor in the music industry. Beyond his own albums, he remained a guiding force behind other artists, writing and producing hits that carried the Motown spirit into a new era. His understanding of musical structure, harmony, and emotional storytelling became legendary. Younger artists often sought him out for guidance, and he willingly shared his insights on lyricism, arrangement, and performance. Smokey's approach emphasized sincerity over formula. A song should move the heart, not just the charts. This era also brought recognition beyond commercial success. In 1983, Smokey received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, symbolizing the journey from a young boy in Detroit to a global music icon. 4 years later, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, joining an elite group of musicians whose work defined generations. His Grammy Award for Just to See Her in 1988 highlighted the enduring quality of his voice and songwriting, proving that even after decades in the industry, Smokey could still deliver music that resonated deeply with fans. By 1989, his induction into the Songwriters Hall of Fame cemented his reputation as one of the most influential composers of the 20th century. During this time, Smokey's music evolved in both style and content. He explored themes of love, loss, and introspection with refined subtlety, blending soul, pop, and jazz influences into a signature sound. Albums like Love Smokey, Intimate, and Timeless Love showcase his ability to maintain artistic integrity while adapting to changing musical trends. Each record reflected an elegant balance of melody, emotion, and lyrical sophistication, demonstrating that Smokey was more than a voice. He was a storyteller, a craftsman, and a pioneer of modern R&B. Despite professional acclaim, Smokey's personal life continued to be complex. His earlier relationship with Diana Ross, a childhood friend from Detroit, resurfaced in the 1970s. Though both were married or involved with others at the time, their private relationship lasted about a year before Ross chose to end it, recognizing Smokey's enduring love for Claudette. In interviews, Smokey reflected on this period with honesty, noting, "I learned that we are capable of loving more than one person at the same time." This acknowledgement revealed a rare emotional transparency and a willingness to confront life's contradictions, a theme that would appear repeatedly in his music. Later in life, Smokey found stability and peace with Frances Gladney, whom he married in 2002. Frances, a designer and community advocate, provided the quiet companionship he had long sought after decades of touring, recording, and public scrutiny. Smokey described their marriage as the peace I needed after the storm, a testament to the healing and grounding role she played in his life. Together, they navigated the challenges of fame, family, and public attention with discretion, choosing to focus on shared values and mutual support. By the 1990s, Smokey Robinson's place in American music had become indisputable. His contributions spanned decades, from the early Motown hits to the development of the quiet storm genre, and his influence was felt across multiple generations of artists. The 1990s brought widespread recognition from both the music industry and national institutions. In 1993, Smokey received the National Medal of Arts, the highest honor awarded to an artist by the United States government. Presented by the President, this award acknowledged not only his extraordinary musical talent, but also his role as a cultural ambassador, someone whose work transcended entertainment to touch the broader social and emotional fabric of the nation. That same decade also saw him celebrated in more public arenas. Smokey's performances, interviews, and public appearances demonstrated his enduring charisma and professionalism. He was frequently invited to participate in tributes, collaborations, and special performances honoring other artists. These appearances highlighted his unique ability to connect with audiences, whether they had grown up with his music in the 1960s or discovered him decades later. Smokey's influence extended far beyond his recordings. He became a symbol of artistic integrity, demonstrating that true success involved both talent and character. The late 1980s and early 1990s also solidified Smokey's place in the canon of modern music. His Grammy-winning ballad Just to See Her, 1988, showcased a matured voice, emotionally rich and nuanced, illustrating how his artistry had grown over time. The Songwriters Hall of Fame induction in 1989 acknowledged his unparalleled contributions as a composer and lyricist. Songs that have become timeless classics, My Girl, Being With You, Tears of a Clown, were not just commercial successes. They were cultural touchstones, studied, covered, and celebrated by generations of artists across genres. Smokey Robinson had become both a historical figure and a living legend, bridging the gap between the early Motown era and contemporary R&B. In 2006, Smokey received the Kennedy Center Honors, one of the most prestigious recognitions for artists in the United States. Sharing the stage with legendary performers such as Dolly Parton and Andrew Lloyd Webber, Smokey used the moment to remind audiences of the power of music as a force for connection and inspiration. During his acceptance speech, he remarked, "Success is not just about the music. It's about the legacy you leave." This statement became emblematic of his philosophy. True achievement is measured not by awards alone, but by the impact one has on others, the ability to inspire, mentor, and endure beyond personal accolades. Smokey Robinson devoted much of his life to mentorship and philanthropy. Understanding the importance of guidance in the music industry, he often worked with young artists through Motown Alumni Association programs, providing advice on lyricism, songwriting, and stage presence. Smokey emphasized the importance of authenticity in music, encouraging newcomers to write from genuine emotion rather than following formulaic trends. His efforts ensured that Motown's artistic standards and values would continue to influence the next generation, preserving the integrity of the music he helped create. In addition to mentoring, Smokey committed himself to various charitable causes. From cancer research fundraisers to school music programs, he consistently used his platform to support communities and promote education. These efforts reflected a deep belief that music was not only a personal journey, but also a tool for social good. By combining his artistic influence with philanthropic engagement, Smokey became a role model for artists seeking to use their talent for more than entertainment, demonstrating how music can serve as a bridge between generations, cultures, and communities. Even other legendary artists recognized Smokey's influence. Bob Dylan, himself an icon of American music, once referred to Smokey as America's greatest living poet, an acknowledgement that underscored his mastery of words and emotional expression. For Dylan, known for rarely praising others publicly, this statement highlighted the profound effect Smokey's lyrics had on both his contemporaries and the broader musical landscape. It was a rare and powerful acknowledgement that Smokey Robinson's work transcended genre, style, and era. Smokey's creativity did not wane with age. In 2014, he released Smokey and Friends, an album featuring collaborations with Elton John, Linda Ronstadt, James Taylor, and other renowned artists. The project had a conversational, intimate tone, reflecting a musical dialogue between generations. These collaborations underscored Smokey's enduring relevance and his ability to adapt to evolving musical landscapes while staying true to his core style of emotional storytelling. Nearly a decade later, in 2025, he returned with What the World Needs Now, a project imbued with hope, reflection, and timeless wisdom. Smokey explained in interviews that human emotions, love, passion, sorrow, are universal and timeless, regardless of age. This release was accompanied by the Legacy Tour, celebrating the 50th anniversary of A Quiet Storm. At every performance, audiences, ranging from longtime fans to young listeners, stood to sing along, reaffirming his ability to bridge generations through music. Even at 85, Smokey Robinson's voice remained clear, controlled, and deeply expressive, proof of an artist whose dedication to craft and lifelong discipline defied the passage of time. Despite decades of acclaim and a reputation for professionalism, 2025 brought turbulence to Smokey Robinson's life. In May of that year, four former employees filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court alleging sexual assault and a toxic work environment, seeking over $50 million in damages. The allegations shocked the public and sent ripples through the entertainment industry. Smokey, along with his wife Frances Gladney, denied all claims, describing them as fabricated and part an extortion attempt. In response, he countersued for $500 million for defamation and elder abuse, asserting that the accusations were baseless and damaging to both his personal reputation and lifelong contributions to music. The legal proceedings drew significant media attention, reflecting the complexities of public life for legendary artists. While some critics questioned Smokey's response, many fans and industry peers emphasized his decades-long record of integrity, mentorship, and social contribution. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department opened a criminal investigation, which remains ongoing. Despite the scrutiny and public debate, Smokey continued to focus on his music, touring, and charitable work, demonstrating resilience and a commitment to maintain his legacy in the face of adversity. These challenges highlighted a tension that many public figures encounter: the difficulty of navigating fame, personal mistakes, and legal scrutiny even after a lifetime of artistic achievement. Smokey's approach, combining legal defense with continued artistic output, illustrates both his fortitude and his unwavering dedication to his craft. In interviews, he emphasized that the music, mentorship, and connection with audiences remained his priority, reflecting a philosophy that art and human expression can transcend personal and professional controversies. Smokey Robinson's journey spans more than 8 decades, from a boy in Detroit fascinated by cowboy movies to a global icon whose music shaped generations. His career reflects not only artistic brilliance, but also the complexities of human life: love, loss, ambition, fame, and personal growth. He has admitted publicly that he learned to love more than one person at a time, a candid reflection on the contradictions and emotional truths that define human relationships. Such honesty, rare in celebrity culture, makes Smokey's narrative relatable and profoundly human. Throughout his life, Smokey has demonstrated the power of music as both personal expression and social influence. His songs capture universal emotions while remaining deeply personal, bridging gaps between races, generations, and cultures. By shaping the Motown sound, mentoring emerging artists, and maintaining a creative spirit into his 80s, he ensured that his work would resonate far beyond his own era. The quiet storm genre, for example, continues to influence R&B radio formats, slow jam songwriting, and soulful expression worldwide. Smokey Robinson's enduring influence is not measured only by awards or record sales, but by his ability to inspire, guide, and connect with people through emotion and story. His mentorship helped preserve Motown standards, while his public reflections and candid interviews offered insights into balancing creativity with personal challenges. Even amid legal scrutiny, Smokey remains a figure of resilience, emphasizing that music and artistic integrity are more than professional endeavors. They are legacies that can uplift and inspire across generations. I end April 2025. With the release of What the World Needs Now and a Legacy Tour, Smokey reaffirmed his relevance, showing that age does not diminish creativity or passion. He continues to perform, write, and inspire, demonstrating that true artistry is timeless. Audiences, from longtime fans to new listeners, experience not only his music, but the human story behind it, a journey of triumph, vulnerability, innovation, and relentless dedication. Smokey Robinson's life is a testament to the enduring power of music, the complexity of human emotion, and the potential of artistic influence to transcend time. From the streets of Detroit to international stages, from early Motown hits to modern quiet storm classics, his career reflects innovation, mentorship, and resilience. His personal journey, through love, heartbreak, triumph, and controversy, adds depth to music, giving each song a resonance that extends far beyond melody and lyrics. As he continues to perform and inspire the age of 85, Smokey Robinson's story reminds us that legacy is not simply defined by fame or awards, but by the lives touched, the emotions conveyed, and the lessons passed to future generations. Whether through a tender ballad, a mentoring conversation, or a public statement of truth, Smokey has shown that a life devoted to artistry and sincerity leaves an imprint that time cannot erase. His is a journey of music, emotion, and humanity, a legacy that continues to unfold with every note, every song, and every audience touched by his extraordinary voice. Smokey Robinson, born William Robinson Jr. in 1940 in Detroit's North End, is more than a music icon. He is a living legend whose voice, songs, and life story have shaped generations. Growing up in a challenging environment, Smokey experienced loss early. His parents separated when he was 3, and by age 10 he had lost his mother. Raised in a crowded household with his sister Geraldine and her family, young William found comfort and inspiration in music. His nickname, Smokey, came from his godfather, Uncle Claude, who gave him a cowboy name after taking him to see Western movies. That sense of courage in storytelling would later define his music career. While excelling in sports and academics at Northern High School, Smokey's greatest talent was music. In 1955, he formed a doo-wop group with friends called the Five Chimes, later renamed the Miracles, a name that would become synonymous with Motown Records. Meeting Berry Gordy in 1957 changed everything. Gordy recognized Smokey's rare combination of songwriting, singing, and musical insight. With Smokey at the helm, the Miracles signed with Tamla Records, Motown's predecessor, and released hits like Shop Around, Motown's first major success. Smokey wasn't just a performer. He became a creative backbone of Motown, crafting hits for Miracles, The Temptations, My Girl, Marvin Gaye, Ain't That Peculiar, and the Supremes' Floyd Joy. His songwriting combined simple melodies with deep emotion, making music that was both accessible and profoundly moving in 1971. Smokey left the Miracles to pursue a solo career, facing the challenge of defining himself apart from the group that made him famous. His first solo album, Smokey, 1973, introduced tracks like Sweet Harmony, a tribute to his former bandmates. Though it didn't achieve major commercial success, it marked an important step toward personal and artistic growth. 2 years later, he released A Quiet Storm, 1975, pioneering a style of smooth, introspective R&B that would influence radio and artists for decades. Quiet Storm songs were slow, emotional, and intimate, moving away from the upbeat pop formula of early Motown. Hits like Baby That's Back at You and The Agony and The Ecstasy explored love, longing, and personal reflection, mirroring Smokey's own life experiences, including the challenges in his marriage to Claudette and the complexities of love. The 1970s were also a time of personal upheaval. Smokey and Claudette separated in 1974 and eventually divorced in 1986. Amid these changes, he had a son, Trey, in 1984. Smokey reflected openly on relationships, famously admitting, "I learned that we are capable of loving more than one person at the same time." This honesty, rare among public figures, became a hallmark of his personal and artistic identity. Even as he navigated personal challenges, Smokey continued to grow as an artist. His albums Warm Thoughts and Being With You kept the Quiet Storm style alive, while he also took on mentorship roles, guiding young artists and preserving Motown's high standards. He believed that music should express genuine emotion rather than follow a formula, a philosophy that inspired countless performers. Smokey's influence and achievements were widely recognized. In 1983, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, followed by induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. His Grammy-winning ballad, Just to See Her, in 1988, and induction into the Songwriters Hall of Fame cemented his reputation as one of America's greatest songwriters. In 1993, he received the National Medal of Arts, and in 2006, he was honored at the Kennedy Center Honors. His acceptance speech emphasized legacy over fame. Success is not just about the music. It's about the legacy you leave. Beyond awards, Smokey contributed to charity work, educational initiatives, and mentoring programs, helping young artists navigate the music industry. Bob Dylan, one of America's most respected lyricists, once called him America's greatest living poet, highlighting his ability to turn everyday experiences into profound, relatable songs. Smokey never stopped creating. In 2014, he released Smokey and Friends, collaborated with Elton John, Linda Ronstadt, and James Taylor, emphasizing musical dialogue across generations. In 2025, at age 85, he released What the World Needs Now, a hopeful album addressing love, passion, and the human experience. Accompanied by the legacy tour celebrating 50 years of Quiet Storm, Smokey's performances proved that age cannot diminish creativity, skill, or emotional connection with audiences. Even after decades of music, Smokey's voice retains its warmth, control, and emotional depth. At every performance, fans, from longtime listeners to new generations, experience the same intimate, soulful connection that has defined his career. Despite his achievements, Smokey faced controversy. In 2025, former employees filed a lawsuit alleging sexual assault and a toxic work environment, seeking over $50 million. Smokey and his wife denied the claims and countersued for defamation and elder abuse. A criminal investigation by the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department is ongoing. Throughout these challenges, Smokey emphasized that his focus remained on music, mentorship, and legacy, illustrating resilience in the face of adversity. Smokey Robinson's story is one of talent, perseverance, and humanity. From a young boy in Detroit to a global icon, he has faced personal challenges, professional pressures, and public scrutiny with honesty and grace. His music captures universal emotions, connecting listeners across generations, while his mentorship and philanthropic efforts ensure that his influence extends beyond the stage. Smokey's legacy is measured not just in hits or awards, but in the lives he has touched, the artists he has guided, and the timelessness of his songs. Through love, heartbreak, triumph, and controversy, he has remained true to himself and his craft. His message is clear. Music is not just entertainment. It is a reflection of life, emotion, and human truth. Even at 85, Smokey Robinson continues to inspire, reminding us that age cannot limit creativity, emotion, or the power of music to connect hearts. He is not just a Motown legend. He is a living testament to the enduring power of song, story, and soul. Smokey Robinson, born William Robinson Jr. in 1940 in Detroit's North End, is widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in American music, a man whose voice, songwriting, and life story have left an indelible mark on generations. Growing up in a challenging environment, Smokey experienced the early loss of his parents, his father leaving when he was 3 and his mother passing away by the age of 10, which forced him to grow up quickly in a crowded household with his sister Geraldine and her family. From a young age, music became both a refuge and a passion. Inspired by his godfather, Uncle Claude, who gave him a nickname Smokey after taking him to cowboy movies and instilling a sense of bravery and imagination. During his school years, Smokey excelled academically and in sports, yet music remained his strongest anchor, leading him in 1955 to form a doo-wop group called the Five Chimes with Friends, which later evolved into Miracles with the addition of Bobby Rogers, Claudette Rogers, who became his wife, and guitarist Marv Tarplin. Smokey's early talent as a songwriter and singer caught the attention of Berry Gordy in 1957, and with his extensive notebook of over 100 original songs, he became the creative cornerstone of what would soon emerge as Motown Records. Under Smokey's guidance, the Miracles achieved major hits like Shop Around, which became Motown's first #1 R&B hit, and he wrote timeless songs for other artists, including My Girl for the Temptations, Two Lovers for Mary Wells, Ain't That Peculiar for Marvin Gaye, and Floyd Joy for Supremes, establishing a musical legacy defined by simplicity, emotional depth, and universal appeal. By the early 1970s, after years of touring and balancing the pressures of fame with family life, Smokey left the Miracles to pursue a solo career, releasing his debut solo album Smokey in 1973, and later the groundbreaking A Quiet Storm in 1975, which pioneered a smooth, intimate style of R&B that emphasized storytelling, introspection, and emotional resonance, influencing radio formats and generations of artists for decades. His personal life during this period was complex. He separated from Claudette in 1974, ultimately divorcing in 1986, and had a son, Trey, in 1984, all while navigating his own evolving understanding of love and emotional truth, famously stating that he learned we are capable of loving more than one person at the same time, reflecting a rare honesty about human relationships. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Smokey's achievements were widely recognized, with star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1983, induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987, a Grammy for Just to See Her in 1988, and membership in the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1989, culminating in receiving the National Medal of Arts in 1993 and being honored at the Kennedy Center in 2006, solidify his status as not just a performer, but a cultural icon whose influence extends far beyond music. Alongside awards, Smokey dedicated himself to mentorship and philanthropy, guiding younger artists, promoting emotional authenticity in songwriting, and participating in charitable initiatives ranging from music education to cancer research, earning praise from peers, including Bob Dylan, who called him America's greatest living poet. Even into the 2010s and 2020s, Smokey remained a prolific and inspiring figure, releasing collaborative works like Smokey and Friends in 2014, and in 2025, the hopeful album What the World Needs Now, while celebrating the 50th anniversary of A Quiet Storm with a Legacy tour, performing with a voice that has retained its warmth, control, and emotional depth despite more than 8 decades of life and music. In the same year, Smokey faced legal challenges as former employees filed lawsuits alleging sexual assault and a toxic work environment. He denied all accusations, countersued for defamation and elder abuse, and continues to cooperate with ongoing investigations, demonstrating resilience and focus on his artistic and personal mission. Smokey Robinson's life is a testament to the enduring power of music, the complexities of human emotion, and the influence one individual can have across generations. From Detroit's North End to the global stage, from early Motown hits to modern quiet storm classics, Smokey has navigated fame, personal trials, and controversy with grace and honesty, leaving behind a legacy not just of melodies and lyrics, but of inspiration, mentorship, and emotional truth. Today at 85, he continues to perform, write, and inspire, proving that music knows no age and that a life devoted to art, integrity, and human connection can transcend time, making Smokey Robinson not just a legend of Motown, but a timeless voice of soul, love, and human experience. Smokey Robinson, born William Robinson Jr. in 1940 in Detroit's North End, grew up facing challenges that would shape his character and artistry. Losing his parents early in life, his father leaving when he was 3 and his mother passing away by age 10, he was raised in a crowded household with his sister Geraldine and her family. Music became both a refuge and a passion. Inspired by his godfather, Uncle Claude, who gave him the nickname Smokey after taking him to cowboy movies, instilling a sense of imagination and courage. While excelling in sports and academics at Northern High School, Smokey's musical talents became his defining strength. In 1955, he formed a doo-wop group, the Five Chimes, which evolved into Miracles, adding Bobby Rogers, Claudette Rogers, and Marv Tarplin. Smokey's early songwriting talent and stage presence caught the attention of Berry Gordy, setting the stage for a career that would transform American music forever. During the 1960s, Smokey Robinson became the cornerstone of Motown Records. Hits like Shop Around marked Motown's first major success, while he penned timeless songs for other artists, including My Girl for the Temptations, Two Lovers for Mary Wells, Ain't That Peculiar for Marvin Gaye, and Floyd Joy for Supremes. His songwriting was marked by simplicity, emotional depth, and universal appeal, blending heartfelt lyrics with memorable melodies that transcended race and generation.